Unless there's anything you need, please, let me to mine water.
Oh, you poxy old salt. Spill what you know before we spill your guts.
Seraphim, you have a rather curious method of making a request. How often has this worked in your favor?
Well, mayhaps a time or two. Suppose it works best with a gun behind it. Ma'am?
Seraphim, Romaro described you pointedly. He told me that you would come were ye in danger.
Danger? Nay, not I. I do seek him, though. And I feel that he needs me. Feel it in the deep depths of my furry front sack. If you care for him, you'll be telling me what you know.
He bade me not tell anybody of his plans, ye included. He's left this area, afeard of the danger he fishes on those near to him.
He's the nearest thing I got to kin. Why didn't he trust me?
He did trust you. He trusted you wholly, I'll tell you. And trust you to con best what to make of the conning. Romaro treated me as galleon for mine clipper. A stuggy trade, surely, but he insisted that he needed the speed. I can't tell you what he intends, but he set sail for Sayuka, intending to replenish there. That's everything I con, for whatever good it does you.
He gave up the sorcerer? And for what? An elven clipper? Makes as much sense as Doug's on a Drake cap. He'd be easy catchings for any freebooter after his hide. Yeah, that salted cockfarce be the biggest threat, sure as shit. But others will want that bounty too. Not to mention the favour comes with it. Surely thinks he's protecting me. Stubborn as I seem, Captain Watcher. Romaro makes me look the dabbler. Aye, Cap, you've read my mind. And here with me thinking that were my skill in particular. Thank you mightily, lass. Enjoy the baths.
Safe travels. The wages of war catch ye up soon or soon.
You know, lass, some might be saying your bellicosity towards the gods be a bit ridiculous. You haven't parleyed with them and all?
If you had spoken to them, you'd find them ridiculous too. Anyway, what good have your prayers to Undra ever done?
Better being safe than drowned.
Still find that robed?
Akira, you are a wizard with barkcloth. I was the envy of the guild.
Well, it helps me when Ngati's prize whelp is a walking endorsement.
I will give this a good home.
Knowing your inclinations about the gods, I'm surprised you didn't give Ruanu a piece of your mind.
Ruanu is the Ranga of Tikawara. I cannot risk the company's interest here by offending him.
And I suppose he did do enough talking for all of us.
I don't think so.
Last time...
Akira, you swing the forge hammer with such grace, I say.
A better compliment than you paid last time. I'll take it. Holler if any of the...
I've seen her much nicer lately.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Worry me, Alof. I'd be letting the lass out to play more.
It isn't you, and I didn't ask.
Could make a right nice excuse to be exploring your... well, everything,
You do realize you're not the first ill-mannered Orlin to suggest that?
Atsura tells me you tamed the storms of Pococohara. You may have had a sheltered upbringing, but you're no soft-handed sop, I'll give you that. Makes a person wonder what kind of secrets lie in Andra's mortar. Don't tell me you've never gazed at a horizon and wondered at what lies beyond. Or seen a no trespassing sign as a challenge. The greatest risk often guards the greatest reward. Rautai's storms have made us who we are as a nation. Hardy, driven, inventive. But they've also held us back. Forced our people to seek resources and livelihoods far from our homes and families. Imagine how much more we could achieve if we could control those storms. Why not? The storms there cannot be natural. Not when they are so ferocious, so constant. And your exploits at Pococohara suggest that something else may be behind them. But enough of that for now. There's an understatement. The trouble in Hasango forced us to send additional ships back to Rawatai to make up for shortfalls. And storms at home have delayed another portion of our fleet. This leaves us short-handed here. We're due to collect a special shipment for delivery to our port at Sayuka. We've contracted with a captain named Widla. Meet her, complete the trade, and take the cargo to Sayuka. Fleet Master Okaya is overseeing the development of some special projects there. She's one of the brightest minds in Rawatai, and it shows. You two will get along. Most of her work is, or should be, under wraps for now. But perhaps she can give you a taste of what we have to offer. It'll be easier for Okaya to explain. Good sailors with a fast ship and no mind for questions.
Will to be flying Principe colors. On occasions, she ain't flying fools. One of the young bloods.
Along with half the population of this storm-tossed archipelago. Let's just say, I'm not keen to invite them to a port where we're developing experimental technologies. Along with half the population of this storm-tossed archipelago, Widla's agreed to meet our courier out at sea, away from the heaviest traffic. This is her payment. We've already negotiated with her. Fleet Master Okaya will see to your compensation once you arrive. This is the kind of job that's best completed quickly and quietly. I'm counting on your famous discretion. Clear skies.
Friends of Rowett.
Do not leave me in suspense. Ask whatever I know, just so. Do not leave me.
Protect your long ears, friend Aloth. The seagulls are restless.
What exactly do you think they'll do? Swoop down and nibble my ears?
Hikera, a hat of Kaura reed will guard them better than any helmet.
Welcome back. Governor Alvari will see you.
Ah, good, you're back. I hope you had a pleasant voyage. Before you get too far on the way, I think you ought to come with me. Director Castor will want to hear from you in person.
Alvari tells me you were kind enough to look into this business on Pococahara for us. I hope you bring good news. Incredible. You see, what fortune you had to find a watcher, Alvari. An Adra vein of that size will go a long way. We need only send a ship.
Assuming we can replace the people we lost. I notice Beza is not with you. Did you find any sign of the expedition?
A sorry end for such dedicated individuals. How very fortunate that you lived to tell their tale. I believe I can take things from here, Alvari. Agrasima. The Watcher and I have more business to discuss. Oh, and do pay the woman for her trouble first. I thought it best I speak with you face to face. Watchers are not so numerous here in the Deadfire, especially those of such storied backgrounds as yourself. I'd read much about your exploits alongside the Crucible Knights in Defiance Bay. Their little experiments. And I think that we are, each of us, in a position to offer each other something that we cannot find elsewhere. The Valiant Trading Company has had a presence on this island for nearly a century now. We have the greatest fleet on the seas, the support of the richest men and women in the world. What can the Royal Deadfire Company offer? A soldier's wages, so that you can elevate the fortunes of a distant king? And the queen? A place in the Kahanga tribe among all the rest of these neglected people. You've lived outside the caste system all these years. Are you eager to return to it? I can give you money, fame, certainly. But the men and women of the company, we set our aims high. And if I only wanted to offer you work as an Adra inspector, I would have let Alvari deal with you. Yes, of course. But consider the luminous Adra is only valuable because of what it can offer those who consume it. The Valiant Trading Company has maintained an outpost here in Nekataka for nearly a century now. It was only 2 years ago that we discovered the effects of luminous Adra with the aid of our animancers and several watchers. Flaune Alette has continued to study the potential of luminous Adra in all manner of advances. Why content ourselves to sell all this Adra as a luxury when we might use it to change the world? But of course you understand all of this. Alette sent word of your involvement in her latest experiment. A very dramatic first attempt, I hear. Though Alette has a tendency to gloss over details. But I want to hear it from you. How did it go? Oh, it wouldn't work for me, I think, but... Ak, I take your meaning. More dangerous than expected, yes? I hope Alette paid you well for your trouble. A small comfort, but you'll return from your adventure a little wealthier, at least. We are in the early days of Alette's research. Flawed as this outing was, there is promise there. This is only the start, you know. The very dawn of a new age of discovery. But just imagine. Imagine if we could transport goods and people more quickly than any vessel or horse. Cure every kind of ailment. Perhaps cure disease altogether. We'll extend our lifespans by decades, maybe even centuries one day. This has all been the work of a single outpost. I want there to be a dozen outposts, 100. Animancers working together to better our lives. Look at what we have left behind. Old Valia is a battlefield at constant war with itself. But the republics have risen from that past. We can rise farther still. And in doing so, we will raise all of Aora with us.
Belfetto!
Yes, but achievable, I think. I may not live to see it, but I will see the groundwork done. But I've said enough. Too much, I think. There will be more experiments to come. Until then, I have a more grounded task I need assistance with. Nothing that should put your spirit in any danger. Nekataka sees its share of smuggling. I doubt that would surprise anyone. But we've learned of a particular exchange that will have more dire effects than a few spoiled Hawana peasants.
There are no peasants in the tribes. Your people created this term.
Peace, man. They certainly aren't kings or queens, are they? There is a Royal Deadfire Company official by the name of Quarno, who has been meeting in secret with one of the Principi. He meets with a Captain Tola, a known pirate and smuggler. I hope I don't have to tell you that an alliance between a crooked royal official and the Principi is not the kind of trouble any of us need. I have a woman, Britza, waiting in the luminous bathhouse in Periki's Overlook. The smugglers do business there, and she has kept an eye on things. I promise to send assistance. Find her, and she will tell you what she knows. It may surprise you, but the Royal Spy Master and I are not on very good speaking terms. I prefer to handle these matters internally. You provide a good opportunity. Of course, best to go in prepared. The discipline of the royal officers isn't really what any of this is about. I'm more concerned about the pirates. In this particular case, the companies share an enemy. A fine Valian woman. Steady temperament. Good sense. The bathhouse sees an enormous number of patrons every day. It is a useful place to have a set of eyes and ears on hand. Only that Tola is a captain of middling repute and some small ambition. I expect she feels that a partnership with Quarno will give her an edge. Britza will know more. Excellent. Meeting you has been a stroke of luck, Watcher. I'll await your report.
Couldn't stay away, could you?
You and I, we have a mutual friend, do we not? Good, good. A Royal Deadfire operative, Quarno, and his Principi associate, Tola, will meet tonight to discuss the details of a business arrangement. They have bought out the entire first floor for privacy's sake. Even Gunnar, their proprietor, will excuse himself. Only bathhouse attendants will be allowed to remain, to ensure their comfort. You understand? He is a snake in the body of a man. Though he is supposedly the Royal Deadfire Company's man, he always seems to be working some deal on the side. Tola is fond of drink, and her tongue flaps loosely when she has had too much of it. I will disguise you as a bathhouse attendant, so you might observe their meeting. With luck and some cunning, you may be able to discover the details of their special arrangement. You will not be able to take your gear, but do not worry. Should the situation get out of hand, there will be a stash of weapons hidden in one of the changing booths. But I am sure it will not come to that. I have had dealings with Tolar in the past, and I am certain she will recognize me. Hence why I have requested assistance from Director Castle, though it pains me to do so. They will not believe you an attendant if you carry a blade, but do not fear. I would not throw you to the wolves. Gelarde! Then you will take your disguise, and I shall take your equipment, Ak. Take this rice wine as well. Perhaps you will find use of it, eh?
What timing? Landing in all this water's making me thirsty. Your face is weird. Have we met? It's probably the wine. Flatterer. I'm no queen of Nekataka, but I do all right. I captain a ship for the Principi, and the big grouchy guy back there, Quano, works for the Royal Deadfire Company. Sometimes, when he's not doing stuff on the sides. Doing stuff like selling me cannons. That's what we're celebrating. Did I mention that? That's because I am. I'm no queen of doing stuff like selling me cannons. That's what we're celebrating. Did I mention that? My large friend and I are celebrating a business transaction. But I can't say anymore. You're cute. Got a good face. But even that won't get me to say any more. Now, maybe if you had some more rice wine. Has anyone ever told you you're great? 'Cause you are really great. You should ditch this stupid bathhouse. Join my crew. I just got a bunch of fancy new cannons from Quano. We'll be the terrors of the Deadfire. It'll be fun. No, I've already had too much.
If I grow hungry or thirsty, I will call for you. Until such a time, leave me in peace. What reason does an attendant have to speak with me? I see. What do you wish to know? I manage munitions, cannons, gunpowder, and the like. What do you wish to know? Captain Tola is a creature of the Principe, though a minor one at best. In truth, her status matters little to me, for she has the coin to purchase enough munitions to outfit an entire fleet. What do you wish to know? Find me a man who does not appreciate a fleet of cannons at his command, and I will show you a fool. The Principe appreciate cannons more than most, and they know when to turn them toward Valian Trading Company ships to get what they want. And some ships, let us say, they are ripe for the plucking. What do you wish to know?
Report to Director Castle once you've learned what you can.
You like that? Yeah! Quick, toss me something else! Can't move!
Worse than rough!
Let's do this!
Never a
The stuff.
You'll be paying for that, Swabby!
Weapons no good to me!
Me too. Worse than rough!
After just like
Me too. I'm flogging a figurehead. Futile.
take this!
Take care with your aim.
Let's go! Got it.
Behold me, as me too.
They'll naked us both!
I am seeing trails.
Just like try something else. Let's go.
Damn the lads, eh? I'm here. As you wish. Let's tie it out!
Ahoy. Ahoy.
I am ready.
Wait,
toss me something else. After him.
See you, as me too.
There's a walloping!
Madico, I need to try something else.
Me too.
Cucinado, watch your fire.
Just let's go.
Ixiano!
No problem.
You've been a great assistance to us in the city, I hear. A great many glowing reports. Now then, did you have a reason for coming by? Perfetto. What did you discover? Diverus? That is worse than I suspected. Please, explain. Spare me no details. An interesting scheme. Fortunate that you were able to get wind of it. That is enough to work with. Agressiva, I do believe I'm going to ruin Quarno's day. I do have another matter I could use your assistance with, Watcher. If not quite, though you may feel the need for a personal visit yourself after. It concerns a business associate, a captain by the name of Ferrante. Something of a notable figure among the Principi, I'm told. Believe me, the irony is painful. Still, I think there is a clear difference. Quarno sought to improve his own fortunes, whereas this I do for the company. Captain Ferrante will have the details, but the matter concerns a contact of his on the island of Crookspur. Apparently, they're having some trouble out there with the hostile tribe. You help them, Ferrante helps the company. You've proven resourceful. You make the logical choice. I would not normally enter into such pacts with the likes of Ferrante. The company's assets are in some disarray. Our resources are not what they once were. It is a shameful state of affairs, but I am doing what I can to remedy the situation. You'll find Ferrante in Dunwich. Dunwich is a den for pirates, as you might imagine. You'll likely be in less danger there than on the sea, but all the same, I recommend extreme caution.
I thought Juana didn't believe in personal property. Yet you've brought quite the assortment of leather necklaces.
Akira, just so. But not all of them go around my neck.
In that case, perhaps you could remove them from my sleeping berth.
Oh, it is no burden, my friend. You are free to borrow one.
Love Kunimaki, eh?
You and me both, friend.
La Pilikiko? Lakaris? Kezila Stahun? Nashku Hakusa? Keket Segu Kisa Reka. Reka, ta? Ta! Ke lakteka tu tetateghun. Te ekiwa kekek te tayete te takimashan. Ke lashtatya tajlo. Ke lashtatya tajlo? Ta, Yuki. Ketagi. Lashtasama.
As you say, Captain. So, we're back. Did you miss us? Well, thanks. It was just me and the bird for a couple of days, and we're sick to death of each other. Something happened out there, and it's got me all turned around. I didn't exactly deliver a missive. That parchment was meant for me, and I delayed opening it as long as I could. Atsura gave me a name and a location. That was all. When you're a sharpshooter by trade and your boss doesn't offer clarification, you learn to arrive at your own conclusions. I can already see this is going to go well. The rub of it is, my target wasn't some ship's captain or an ogre swinging a fence post. He was the Ranga of a Huana tribe. Take a breath, Captain. You're not exactly a pacifist. The village was beachside. No sign of foreign occupation. I might have been the first outsider to make land in quite a while. They were just simple folk going about their lives. Couldn't have been more than 50 of them. Their Ranga, though? He had a voice that carried, that echoed in the hearts of his people. He called for unity with the neighboring tribes, the setting aside of bad blood. His people listened, and listened well. He was my target. You can guess what happened next. Fair enough. Long story short, the chieftain never saw his next sunrise. It took a while for his kin to find him, but only seconds to figure out that he didn't die of a weak heart. This tribe surprised me. They acted like I kicked over their anthill. They got mad. They got to work. The old Ranga went onto a pyre, and the new one snapped into place. She took up the call for unity while the embers were still warm. Acted like I hadn't just killed her boss for doing the same thing. Fair question. Short answer? I don't know. Atsuri uses different codes for each of us. I could teach myself to write Angwithan before I cracked another agent's instructions. Of course. I shoot to disrupt soldiers and end conflicts, not to stifle ideas or crush spirits. That's Valian work. They mourned, they seethed, they tore at their hair. But they rebuilt. By the time I left, they were talking about peace with the other tribes like it was inevitable. I completed my mission. I leave Atsura to worry about whether or not it was a success. If you don't mind, I need to let this brew in my head for a while and see what bubbles up. Thanks for letting me unload in the meantime. We should talk to Atsura. He'll want to know that I've done as he asked. You have no evidence. I'll deny everything, and the Navy will forget they ever knew me. 3 reasons. Now back off, Captain. I need to clean my gun.
You have come to the wrong place, outsider. I do not care which island you call home. This one belongs to the Wahaki. You cannot have business on Motari Okozi. Leave before I feed your bones to the jungle. This is no library, Outlander. Death herself has touched this jungle. It seems you intend on letting the island do our work for us. I thought my message to the Huana Prince was clear. He needs reminding that to trespass on the jungle ruin is a death sentence. Explorers from Neketaka landed here. You must know by now they did not return. It is no wonder the prince sent a second group to find the first. He cares more about riches and plunder than the lives of his servants. Akira, the island is closed to outsiders. All who set foot here are doomed to perish. The prince sent explorers into the maw of this island. Their drained corpses and bloodied clothes were all they left behind. If Aruihi intends on repeating his mistakes, I am thinking he will not stand for long against the foreigners. To the depths with him, then. A prince of Neketaka should put the wishes of his people over his ambition. We do not venture into the deeper jungle, but we know it for what it is. A place where nature has gone mad. It is not for me to explain the tales of our people, but I warn you to keep your distance. Motare Okozi has claimed more lives than you would guess. Imagine a number. It is more, I say. This island soured in an age when tribes were vulnerable and separated from their kin. It grew teeth where none had sprouted before. Imagine the feast laid out for an opportunistic glutton. You did not come here to learn our history, and I do not share our secrets with outsider filth. You will find only bones and ruin, blighted with decay, and worse. The deeper jungle is fouled. Nature is wrong here, and your very presence makes her drool with hunger. You have done nothing to earn the trust of the Wahaki. I cannot look into the eyes of my chieftain and explain to her why I let you go into the jungle. Better for us both if I killed you now. We will give your body to the sea with all the rights that a worthy foe deserves. An outsider can expect no greater honor. I knew that outsiders could get drunk on their own overconfidence. I did not think it could also drive them mad. The power at the heart of this island is older and stronger than an adventurer's hubris. But I do not mind pitting you against it. We will be watching you, outsider. Though we will not interfere if the jungle attempts to close its jaws around you. Cause no trouble in the ruins of Motare Okozi.
I see the wits of their eyes.
Work and rock.
I am the At your service.
Like that?
Come on!
Let's go. Just like that.
Worth and rough!
Let's do this.
stuff. Mine now. Oh, good. Oh, would you look at this? Leave it to me.
No. I was strong. I was so very hungry, but pleased. Yes. Mother will destroy you, outsider. There is a seed of pain inside all living things, and she will make it sprout in you. Count on it. If you think you are helping us, I beg you to reconsider. The day we twisted our roots was the day we learned to defend ourselves. Mother called on us to knot our hearts, to grow strong and fight those who so callously rent apart the Deadfire. The others hesitated, but I followed her with a daughter's joy and devotion. We have known hard times ever since the island-hopping Kith invited the ire of the gods. Mother twisted us, instructed us to harden ourselves against intruders. Over time, the Grove learned to defend itself from the likes of you. She will tear you into pieces and pull me back into her communion when she is done. I can't decide if I hate or relish the prospect. You seek Ukaizo. I suppose you've corrupted all of your own islands, and now you must trample on the ones which time forgot. No, I am pleased to say that I do not know the location of haunted Ukaizo. Even if I did, I would die 1,000 times before giving you the satisfaction of an answer. We drank their fetid water. I let it spill onto the roots of my tree and felt their life feed the island. That isn't what you wanted to hear, and I delight in the telling of it. Mother will know what you've done. My pets and I will leave you to her. She is sick, as are we all, and it will only grow worse if no one stops her. Seek out the trees of my other sisters. Heal them as you did me. We can help.
Trespasser! Vile defiler!
Madam, this is a swamp at best. What could we be trespassing on?
My tree is scoured clean. Your roots are still tangled. There is power in her.
No! She has twisted you against us. After we have drained her water, we will show you how to mother this island properly. We do not speak to the fertilizer. You are nothing but water to feed our young, soil to birth our seed.
She didn't kill me, and that's saying something.
You are too trusting, child. We are the life of this isle and the guardian of its Adra. When death spread wide her arms to embrace the Deadfire, we twisted ourselves and stood tall against her. When the Kith who angered the gods sought refuge, we nursed our young on their remains.
The cataclysm was thousands of years ago. Kara, you have been alive all of this time?
Ah, you are blind to the harmony of our grove, Outlander. We are perfection. You are the only infestation here. We look out on our garden and see green, bounty, life. The oldest cycle made healthy after the blight of Ukaizo's fall. Is this not so? This brackish water. I have rooted here for centuries, and I recognize nothing. The grove does not die. No, it lives in death.
Kara, I will try to take that as a compliment. Looking better already, I say.
That thing I was, she is no more. But I carry enough of her to know the meaning of gratitude. Thank you. I collected a small hoard of trinkets from visitors. We have no need of these trophies. This grove rotted a blink of an eye ago, by Aora's reckoning. I will grow and replenish what we lost. Taming it will be a chore, but there is time. More of my daughters may yet roam this jungle. With my poison coursing through their roots, I cannot stop them from bringing you harm. And I will not punish you for bringing them rest.
No sweat. There.
Sure.
Leave it to me.
Your story ends here.
Worse than rough.
Just like that? Let's go. It's mine now. Why not?
Help! Please! Come, Blanca! Help me! Pazzo! Stinking weed!
Nature has turned her hand against this woman. We must not leave her in the state, Captain.
I don't know what you are, stranger, but your kindness goes down smooth. Director Castle sent us. We were shadowing a Juana expedition, trying to figure out what they were after. Corpses, all of them. But we couldn't turn our backs on the mission, so we went deeper into the jungle. North of here, there is a golden disc, big, heavy thing. One of my mates took a piece of it. Everything went wrong after that. Something took us while we rested. Oh gods. I woke up and there was a flower growing out of my casita's mouth. I started pulling weeds out from between his teeth. Then I got hit from behind and woke up here. There is something guiding the creatures here. A woman, I think. She gets under your skin. I only caught a glimpse of her in passing. Huge. And her daughters are none too fond of outsiders. We didn't learn much. It was already missing a piece by the time we got here. The most I saw were a bunch of Juana's scribblings.
Those scribblings were made by my people millennia ago. I suppose you just wanted it for the plunder?
Not necessarily. It would have made a fetching desk at the company headquarters. I wager it was what the other expedition came to find. Not that their luck was any better than ours. Thank you. Only I don't know how we're going to manage it.
Akara, a simple matter of denying these vines their beloved water. Not my finest work, but it is done.
I think that did it. Agrasima. Our ship landed on the other side of the island, but I am the last of the crew, and I cannot sail her alone. May I join your voyage? I do not care where we make port, as long as it is far from here. That is the rotted queen, the matriarch of this blighted. She has jabbered in my head since I got caught. The tree. Ak, Casita! I will see you on board. If I was mad enough to tarry a moment longer, I would walk with a quiet step. Ak, then you came better prepared than we did. The Pugra, who guard this jungle, get edgy whenever anyone steps near their...
Minds of their own, I say. And sharp teeth.
Pretty good, huh? Got it.
Mother will bring new life to the island. Our mother is well again. We will not forget this, Outlander.
Mother is restored. Weakened like me.
Leave it to me.
That seems a little too nice for a place like this.
Let's go. That's the stuff. Quick, toss me something else. You like that? Watch it! This did nothing. You're sick, just like
This won't do. That's not very helpful.
Try something else. You were saying? Cut that out. After him. Captain.
oh, good.
Aye, aye. Why not?
Oh, would you look at this? Leave it to me.
Sure.
Leave it to me.
Agrasima, how you dote on me, Captain.
A marvel. Oh, I could spend days studying this. I don't suppose that's the plan.
No. No! I watched you die, crushed under that castle. Your monument to hubris.
Hey, it's our little skull. We thought we'd lost you. You've grown so much. A whole body now.
Silence! I've suffered several lifetimes worth of your inane babble already. Again you interrupt my plans, and again I am forced to compensate. My days of bouncing in your shadow or being jostled amongst spears and daggers are over. This is the end of our sordid companionship.
Let's not fight. We just want our little skull back. The rest you can keep.
You will keep your hands away from me, cur. Whatever beginner's luck won you the day at Cragholt has expired. Fate brought us here to correct its error. One such offense was inexcusable. Your very presence, an abomination.
Rather cocky for a man with no skin.
Then I'll borrow some of yours. Describe a spell that shrinks ears. I see we've already descended to petty jabs. This should be over soon. If the Circle sent you to interrupt my research, I'll fashion a scarecrow of your remains to deter their next hapless victim. I'm sure that pig-headed Commander Bailerin is having a chuckle over the irony from whichever spoke of the great wheel he calls home. The Bannermen are loyal to a full purse, and my investments have paid off over several lifetimes. I had planned on taking vengeance by leveling your castle, but that sea-striding Ardra buffoon stole the opportunity out from under me. From there, it was the trivial work of dragging myself across the Deerwood toward a dock. One mouthful of soil at a time. Then I arrived in the Deadfire as any simpleton would, by boat. That arcane upstart Bekana might not have been as unhinged as we once assumed. The Circle discounted her theories about a deep well of power in the Deadfire. All that changed when I felt its pulse. Your presence tells me that the Circle has felt it too. How astute. Now, if you're finished dissecting my academic setbacks, I am a rather busy lick.
Got someone in my sights.
There's no argument.
I'm here.
This weapon's no good to me! Sick! Do it again and I'm taking it away! After him! Oh, good.
Aye?
Wasted that thought.
Taxed to my limit.
Let's do this!
Speak freely.
Let's go.
Too slow.
Just like quick, toss me something else.
Hey.
Uh-huh.
Speak
Speak freely.
That's not very helpful.
Oh, good. After him.
I'm having some trouble moving to Mario.
Nice hit. Just. Let's go. This is nothing. Try different position.
I need some help here. Tell me. They'll fall by my hand.
Wrong side. This weapon's no good to me.
Something you need?
Why not?
This fine Edirn mead. I call it unfit for pigs.
Sure.
The elf holds his grimoire like a clumsy initiate. Did you know you reek of that hagfish you carry? Dispose of it at once.
You look like you could use some fresh air. If I don't survive our adventures, promise me you'll burn all my books.
Sure.